Hi everyone. This is Priya Kedia. I am the founder of Think Now Classroom, where we are trying to help kids develop learning efficiencies and improve their knowledge retention capabilities by developing certain learning modules which connect their academics with real life experiences. So this is our podcast, Classroom to Boardroom, where we talk to people from different walks of life, CXO, scientists, innovators, educators, and we try to, gather insights on, what it takes to be successful in real world in their field of work, and what are the skills that students can inculcate for tomorrow's challenges. So we have been trying to get guests from diverse fields. Like last time we had with us professor from IIT Roorkee. Today we have with us Khanjan and Akshay, who have worked in the development sector. They have worked at the grassroots level, staying with the marginalized communities, working with them, knowing what are the challenges at their level. So, and Akshay here has also been supporting corporates in their sustainability journeys, in their CSR activities. So yeah, over to you guys. You guys can introduce yourself, talk about your educational journey, professional journey. Feel free to, you know, um, give us anecdotes from your journeys. So yeah, over to you guys.
Hi, maybe I'll get started. Thanks a lot for hosting us, Priya. Really looking forward to our conversation. As I said, as you mentioned, my name is Akshay. I currently work as a social impact consulting professional. I largely work with diverse corporates and nonprofits on various social impact themes and projects. Prior to this, I had worked as a rural development fellow in a village in Kalahandi district of Odisha, which is how my social sector journey really began. However, I had started my career as a corporate professional working with an MNC bank for a few years. Was largely working in areas of transformation and strategy. And at a point, I figured that I could perhaps take a little bit of risk with my career and maybe figure out what the social impact sector is really all about. And since then,
Right.
I think from a education point of view, I hold an MBA. That's a little bit about myself.
Okay. Sounds very interesting.
Hi, I am Khanjan and I work with a non-profit called Foundation for Ecological Security. I am part of the research team and my research centers around issues of land governance, natural resource management, and how gender and other marginalizations intersect with these issues. I have been working in this sector for almost 6 years now. Before FES, I worked with Gram Vikas again in the Kalahandi district of Odisha. And my education is also in this sector. I have done an MBA in development with a specialization in sustainability. And I have a bachelor's degree in journalism. So,
Okay. And, I have to ask this, like, when we think about the professions, I mean, it might have been very similar for you. I mean, we all are of the same age group that, when we, pass out from 12th, did you ever did you even know that, there could be like an MBA in this sector, or, you 6 years down the line, you would be working in the development sector? Because like, for me, at least, I would say, like, when I passed out of 12th, I did not even know about, these career paths. I knew of very conventional paths. So, I mean, did you guys know already that you wanted to work in these fields, or, it just kind of, you happened to be at that place at that time and you kind of maneuvered your way into this and you, like, eventually liked it and so then, continued to be in this? Yeah,
yes, so
anybody could answer.
yeah, I can go first. I did not know about any of this at all after 12th, like you mentioned. The only streams which were very popular were engineering, medical, and architecture, and
Right.
law, and so on. So, and I was also very confused about where I want to be, what I want to do. And so also I made a lot of shifts in my career. I
Okay.
started training for IIT entrance. I thought I would do engineering, and then I quit that and I went into architecture. After 1 year of architecture school, I realized that this is not what I want to do. And then I again switched to journalism. Journalism was quite interesting, and I got into journalism knowing that I wanted to do environmental journalism because environment was a subject that I had always been interested in since my school days. And to understand about the field of environment more, I started looking for courses after my bachelor's degree in journalism.
Okay.
And through those courses, I started uh, getting exposure to this sector, knowing about how environment is closely related um, to the society and the people in general. And so when I came to know about this university and this master course in development and sustainability, I thought this is what I want to do and this is where I should be. And eventually, the world of development sector opened up for me, uh, and yeah, that's how I landed.
Okay. Yeah. So I can maneuvered your way into it. Yeah. Okay. That's very interesting. Yeah. And what about you, Akshay? Like, did you know it from the beginning that this is where you wanted to be?
Yeah, not at all. I think almost like an accident of history in terms of things, one thing leading to the other, and I find myself in this sector, and I feel that I'm committed to kind of working in this space for good. Something which I believe Steve Jobs had said, right, that you can only connect the dots looking backwards, right? I mean, you can't really think of things always from a going forward point of view. Hence, I can almost imagine what micro small decisions I took at different points in time, and why diverged
Let
in
this.
terms of where I had started and where I currently am. And of course, all of us are like very, very early in our journeys, and there's a lot that we perhaps need to kind of traverse as well in our paths as
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's very rightly said. And like, I think it applies to a lot of people in their lives. Like, when you look back, in the beginning, you just felt that, okay, it's just happening, some random things are happening with me. But yeah, if you look back, you're like, okay, everything was connected in a way. So yeah, that's right. Okay, cool. Now that I know more about you guys, so in this podcast, Classroom to Boardroom, what we do is we do, short questionnaire round with the guest. So this time we have two guests, and we throw some, I mean, they are short questions, but yet very insightful. So you are free to, answer them in a single statement or, in some 15 statements incorporating your anecdotes. So you're free to do that. Okay, we'll start with a question. So the first question comes for Khanjan. What is, the most crucial skill that, I mean, at this point, you feel that children should acquire in school? And of course, it would be coming from, our educational journey, that okay, maybe this was something that we were not taught, and but this is, very crucial to be something to be nurtured in school level.
Yes, so I think skill building is something that our education system did not do, at least at school stage. It was the education was mostly focused on academics and rote learning, and that was the approach, that was the method. It might have changed now. I hope
Yeah,
it has
yep.
changed now. But looking back, I feel uh, some skills that could have helped me in my professional journey if I had, acquired those in school, were like learning how to question or learning how to learn something, learning how to upskill yourself, logical thinking. These are some things which I feel are very useful irrespective of the sector you are in or the profession that you choose. Uh, and I also feel that the purpose of education should be that to, you know, inculcate curiosity and questioning and not taking everything at face value.
At face value.
especially in a society like ours, when uh, so much is so much is changing, yet so much is still the same. Questioning the social norms, traditional norms, uh, thinking logically why something is the way it is. Uh, does it even make sense, or is it just because status quo has to be maintained? So these are some
Nice.
things which I feel are important for a society to progress, and education plays a very important role in it.
And it definitely like feels like something which, I mean, safe school is not inculcating, but I mean, should should have been inculcated at least in our homes, that okay, this is the status quo, but you can always question. So I mean, we have talked about this aspect a lot when we were designing the course, and when we did our pilot studies, and when we were discussing with parents and things like that. So I think the one thing that came out of this problem was that whenever we are taught something at school, it's like a one-sided thing where you are providing the learning as an information card to the kid, and not like something, okay, this is something that's there. What do you feel about it? What's your opinion about it? Do you think it could have been done in a better way or in some other way? So that acknowledging that a kid could also have an opinion about something was missing, which kind of led to this problem that we never thought we could do something more. This thing could be changed, or this is wrong or something like that. So yeah, I mean, very rightly pointed out. Okay, I'll go to the second question. This is coming for you, Akshay. So, like Khanjan also mentioned in her answer, in a way that, things are changing a lot. And not just, I mean, in the world, but I would say things are changing a lot in India, in Indian landscape, because, a lot of things are happening. So, at this point, what do you think would be the top three careers in the future? Say, and when I say future, it means, the future for the current students. So what do you think would be, the top three careers?
Yeah. So Priya, I'll think about it in a sense that we might just want to also define careers for whom as well. For example, just I mean, from an example point of view, like a girl born in perhaps in rural India, going to kind of a school in a very remote kind of a context. For her, the job for her future, and the job that she can perhaps anticipate, expect, and perhaps get in the kind of social reality she faces will be very different, say, from what a student going to a kind of a DPS will perhaps undergo, right? So I think when we think about what are the jobs for the future, I think it needs to be thought through across levels, in terms of not to create like a caste hierarchy amongst students, but
Mm-hmm.
just telling the reality that India and the world is very, very diverse, and people will perhaps get very, very diverse kind of opportunities. But having said that, still, when we think about what will be the potential jobs for the future, I can perhaps think of it in maybe two, three different ways. One is, say, I mean, the whole, I think, digital and AI boom which is taking place. Right? I think that's a trend which is likely to stay. Now, for example, a plumber in the past might just wanted would have perhaps just needed to be like a good plumber who knew his trade very well. But the
Yes.
but the plumber of today also perhaps needs to have a good access and understanding of mobile of digital tools, because that is one of the ways in which he can perhaps get onboarded onto a platform such as an urban company, and get himself much more business and become discoverable across diverse geographies as well.
Right.
So traditional job roles that we have are getting a digital layer kind of integrated among them, and that is one trend which is in some sense taking place. And similarly, when we talk about AI, right, I mean, AI as a disruptor of jobs, and of course we are talking not in the context of, say, service sector jobs, etc. But the point is, as a
Right.
trend, it is going to impact many job roles, right? So this whole category of jobs, when we think about jobs for the future, this is really about how do the current roles, current careers kind of make themselves future proof from a digital slash technology slash evolving trends point of view, right? So that is one kind of category. Then the second category that I can perhaps think of is, say, the emerging job roles, right? Or the emerging careers which are going to kind of take shape given the direction in which the world is moving. And in that context, things like green jobs are going to become a lot more important, right? As the world kind of moves into hopefully a kind of a greener, more sustainable net zero kind of a transition. And what are those jobs which will enable that transition to take place are also going to be much, much more in demand. And that's an opportunity for the students of today to perhaps look at. For example, I mean, at one run, you have the whole, I mean, EV transition taking place, right? So the we perhaps think of, say, maintenance and operations for electric vehicles, for renewable energy, for operations, maintenance, sales. All of these require, say, a different or differentiated skill sets, and that is going to be a huge scope wherein the market is perhaps going to kind of evolve. At the third rung, I will just maybe make a small plug for the kind of sector that Khanjan and I represent. We can't really speak on behalf of the sector, but irrespective, I think we're seeing a lot of interest amongst young students to join this sector, and I really hope that the social impact sector, the what we traditionally call it, also attracts a lot more talent. And I would urge all your listeners and viewers to also consider jobs in this sector, because it's one of the ways in which we can do good, as well as kind of make some kind of a living out of doing good and making friends as well. So that's what I think from a careers of the future.
Yeah, that's a very, I would say, insightful answer, and not like a one direction answer where we just say, okay, data scientist or AI or this, but you have like captured a lot more, many aspects in the question. And I really liked your first point where you said that, okay, when you say top 3 careers, like who are you referring to? Is it for the DPS student or is it for that? So I really like that point. And I think for the development sector, that the point that you mentioned, I feel like even like at this level, I am extremely, like, though in my master's, my thesis was something where, I was supposed to be in a village in Maharashtra, every month to kind of pilot what I was developing in the lab. But even after, being involved in that sector, and when I say I represent a lot of people who have not directly worked in the sector for a long time, a lot of times feel that maybe that is something where you do not really earn any money. So, I mean, I feel a lot of people are unaware of the fact that this whole industry is not just about people who are working there for charity, but also professionals who are, using the things that they have learned in their degree and things that they have learned in their education, like actually using them and actually, contributing to the economy as well. So I feel there's a lot of miscommunication or, I would say unawareness about that, which, kind of makes it less popular among people who are looking out for professions.
I think there's a lot of truth in that, and also the fact that the sector, perhaps the perception that that if you are working in the sector, perhaps you might not really afford a Mercedes or a BMW. I think there is a lot of truth to that statement. But I mean, again, taking the analogy of the automobile industry, right? For example, when we look at electric vehicles and we say that, the upfront cost is high, but your regular running cost is relatively lower, and therefore the total cost of ownership comes to be relatively lower. Just want to use that analogy in the context of our careers as well. That compensation is one part of our overall value proposition as professionals. Right? There is so much more. There is, say, emotional well-being. There is, say, I think feeling, say, aligned to the problem that you're trying to solve, the feeling of meaning that you get from a job. I think when you look at the entire package, in addition to the compensation, which of course is an important consideration for all candidates, but when I look at all of these things in totality, I guess the value proposition of the sector is not less than, say, any other job role that you might consider in, say, other sectors. But of course, depending upon what motivates different people, I think that's also
yeah. Which component is more important for that person? But yeah, I actually love that analogy where if you think about it in a way that in total, what's the compensation? It's not just the monetary compensation, but plus satisfaction, plus a meaningful job. Because a lot of people many times complain that, okay, I might be earning, say, 30 lakhs per year, but I'm just doing it's not really meaningful, it's not impactful. So I mean, that analogy is extremely very powerful there. Okay, let me move on to the next question. It is for Khanjan. So the reason that in our podcast Classroom to Boardroom, we try to talk to people from diverse fields, is because we want to understand that, okay, say Akshay and Khanjan are in the development sector. What are the skills, what are the life skills they require in their profession? And say, if I ask that question to a professor, if say somebody asked me that question, say I worked as a research scientist in TCS research lab. So everybody might be, using different life skills in their profession. So, I and my, viewers and, whoever is going to, go through this podcast would love to know that what are the, two life skills that are required in this profession.
Um, I will. I will not. I can't stick to just two life skills.
Okay. Yeah, of course.
But I will still try to categorize the skill sets into two major buckets. Because the social sector and the development sector, especially when you are working at the grassroots, is very community centric and community facing, and people and the communities are at the center of all the work that we do. Certain kinds of skills, people skills or interpersonal skills, as we call it popularly, become very important. So that would include your communication skills, which also includes listening skills. You have to be a very good listener when you're working with communities. And certain traits also become important, like empathy, compassion. You bring certain value systems in your work, and those are all as important as the soft skills. Also like networking, collaboration. So this is one bucket that is very important in the social sector, in the development sector. And the other kind of skills are, which are, I think, also very important in any profession that you are in. So very individualistic skills like decision making or leadership, project management. Also depending on the role that you are in, research skills, or say writing skills, analytical skills. So those kinds of uh, skills that you must possess as an individual, soft skills, are equally important, because like Akshay also mentioned, this sector is also a very professional sector, and it's not just charity or volunteering, but there is a lot more to it, and you need to possess all of these skills, which are also required for any other profession.
Any other profession. Right, right. Yeah. That's completely right. I think uh, analytical research skills like will definitely be there, because like if you're living in the community with them, and you have to be on the lookout that, okay, what could be their problems which they are not mentioning, but I can in a subtle way I can figure out, okay, that this is also a problem and this could also be a solution. Okay. Akshay, do you want to add to any of the life skills, since you also kind of do the consulting work in the sustainability and the CSR front?
Yeah, I think, what Khanjan referred to is a very exhaustive set of things that are needed across sectors. I think as professionals
Across sector.
are working in whatever context, but I just maybe want to add certain traits which are just generally needed as individuals across, say, being resilient, being great, because the kind of work which we do, I think, as compared to, say, working in say banking, which is something which I can speak of a little bit from personal experience, where the things that I at least got to do were very much defined, set processes, systems, and therefore the scope for divergence in processes was very, very low. And therefore the scope of failure was also not that very high. But in this sector, when we're trying out different things, there's a fair degree and fair chance of things not going our way. And therefore having resilience and grit, and just kind of keeping that view of the big picture, and keeping at it just in the face of odds. I think these are just traits. These might not be skills, but these are just traits which are needed maybe across sectors, but they're definitely in very, very high need and demand in the social sector.
In
Just to
the social sector.
see through challenges.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think like all the sectors would need that, because like you're mentioning, a lot of professionals, because of the very watertight and like very stiff rules that they are in, do not get to kind of experience that you invest your time, effort, and probably money, and there's a big team working on something, and if things fail, but that's how you kind of develop the standard operating procedure by feeling and kind of understanding what works and what does not. Okay, so I mean, that was great. uh, Next question is for Akshay. So, I think in a way, this was, solely from the standpoint that uh, at this point, at this age of your life, at this, point in your career, do you feel that, okay, maybe if this was taught to me in school, I think I would have done maybe, 50% better than, say, what I'm doing now. I mean, not everybody has to feel that way. Uh, I mean, I could feel that, okay, if I was taught that, I would have done better. But many people also feel that, no, even if somebody would have taught me that I would have, only learned those things through my own experiences, through my own mistakes. So yeah, anything that you would like to, share in that aspect?
Yeah. So Priya, I think in some set it again kind of goes both ways. There are certain things which I wish I was more exposed to from the school, and there are certain things which I wish the things that I was getting exposed to, I had taken it up on my own, or say I actually took that onus upon myself. And there I believe that I wish in hindsight I had spent a little less time in the classroom and a little more time doing extracurriculars. And I think most of my school life was between the library and the classroom. And I wish there was more time on the playground, in the labs, and maybe the canteen, just having fun with my friends as well. I just wish in that sense I had more meaningful experiences in my school campus. And that's something which is a little individualistic in that sense. But where I think maybe what schools and say educational institutions can also do slightly better in terms of is actually just take this idea of beyond academic excellence, what all do we what all skills that we can perhaps impart onto our students, what kind of experiences can we get for our students. And in that sense, I believe there could have been a lot many more interesting things I wish I could have gotten greater, deeper exposure to, etc. I think is kind of like the two-way kind of way it works. Today I see, like, for example, my neighbor and then say my cousins and my nephews that undertake like very interesting classes, right? I mean,
Yeah.
one of my cousins was taking classes on learning about chess, and I mean, sounds interesting, but at some extent I also feel it's maybe slightly elitist to be able to undertake some of these, and hence my request to the education system would just be that more diverse experiences, not just focusing on academic excellence, but about, so like, how do we kind of create more holistic students and providing diverse across different extracurriculars, across various different kinds of activities, is something that I strongly feel that schools can do better under the constraints that they also, of course, have to operate.
Of course. Yeah, I think at least this particular thing, I mean, kids of most of our generation would feel, because that time having extracurriculars and, such after school classes were like a luxury and not even available at very, like, all the places. But I think at least for this thing, with our 1.5 years of, being into the startup, we have at least felt that when we prepared the curriculum or the product, when we were very new into this, was completely different, because we thought that the school system is very much like it was when I was studying, but the things have changed like 180-degree. And at least for the extracurriculars and, what you talked about, giving a child diverse set of experience, at least I feel that part has been taken care of by many schools. And not just, I would say, tier 1, but even till tier 3 cities, those things have been taken care of. I come from a tier 3 city, and last year I had the opportunity to kind of visit the schools in my city. And when I went to those schools, I couldn't believe that, I studied here. And because things have changed so much, now they are, doing so much more. And I think to add to the point that you mentioned that, uh, the diverse experiences, one thing that I always felt at my home was like me and my brother, we were, always school mein first aane wale bacche. So we were like always, koi bhi relative aata tha to okay, these people come first and like that. But we did have, kids and family who, I mean, I would say at that time, everybody kind of said that, okay, they are the 10th rankers and backbenchers and things like that. But now when I look at them, they have like done so great in their, whatever thing that they are doing in their business, whatever. So I feel uh, at that time, their confidence level was kind of, you know, uh, uh, kind of destroyed because of our acknowledgement of only certain types of academic skills. So I feel that diverse experience thing is also very important to kind of make every child feel that, okay, your skill, whatever skills that you have, is also important. And it's not just the academic skill. So, yeah, I mean, but yeah, I mean, I'm happy to kind of see that a lot of things have changed when we visit schools, when we talk to parents now. Okay, I'll go to the next question. So, Khanjan, this is for you. This is, I mean, we had this question for a previous guest, and sometimes we got like very funny responses. So, I mean, this question is just for fun. So, did you like face any challenges in school, and how did you overcome them? And by challenge, it could be that you faced issues in understanding a certain subject, and then you solved it in some knacky way, or you did some mischievous thing and solved a problem at school. Anything, just feel free to share any anecdote here.
Not so much a challenge in school, but I think after school, one of the challenges that I faced was lacking confidence in public speaking. I still have stage fright, and it was difficult to overcome this challenge because I did not get a lot of opportunities in school to develop these skills of public speaking. So I mean, during school, you mentioned confidence. So I think that was something which was not uh, built in me during school, which is why I faced this challenge later on in life after school. But like I said, academics was the only focus, and I think
Nice, yeah.
was one of the top rankers, and it was not a challenge, thankfully. But like these skills
Yeah.
were a challenge later on in life.
Yeah, I mean that's I think if you kind of ask some like 100 kids from our generation, so most probably 85 will just say that okay, we had that challenge of stage fright and confidence, because like it was just like one student as a monitor. Or I think in our previous podcast, the professor that we were talking to mentioned the same thing, that if my school had kind of pushed not just 10 people out of say 1,000 to become like class monitors, office bearer positions, and give the speech and things like that, if they had pushed like maybe say 60 more students, or if they had pushed like everybody, so in my class I would have felt that okay, many people are doing better at this point, because that was something very important. That skill was very important.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so this ends the short questionnaire round that we do in classroom to boardroom podcast. I'll go to the next round, where the idea is to take learning modules from our classes that we do with the kids, and learning module which basically aligns with the profession that you guys are in, and just do a short, an activity that we do in the class. So, I mean, the activity that's coming in front of you would be something that we'll be doing or we might have done already in the class with the students. So, all of these activities have, a template where we give a question and then uh, we ask the students or we make them discuss on that on multiple aspects. So you're just about to see a sample of that. So since like both of you are from the development sector, I thought that we have an activity where we focus on developing a business plan for a product which could be more relevant in the social entrepreneurship stage or the setup. So here what I'm going to do is I'll give you a product, and then like in any other business plan template, I'll ask you about potential customers, what could be the challenges in making that, in penetrating that in the market, and any kind of challenges, and then what could be the marketing strategies. So you could answer it from the point of view that okay, say this is the product, and if this is gonna be sold or through either directly to people in resource constrained communities, or say through some microfinancing to those communities, what could be the challenges that could come out of those, what could be the marketing strategies that we could use to sell this product to those communities. So you could like uh, kind of put your answer or give your answers from the lens of where this product is gonna be sold. So this activity is for Akshay. And Akshay, we had like gone through multiple products, and we thought that maybe we'll start with a product which is called solar powered water purifier. So basically, consider it like a product for the rural communities where you do not have a constant supply of electricity. So this is a solar powered water purifier. So yeah, stage is all yours. You can talk about potential customers, challenges, how you could market that, and any other aspect of how you would take this idea to, final kind of implementation or selling to the rural community. So anything that want to talk in that.
Sure. So, I mean, when we think of something like a solar-powered water purifier, right? I think for me, the focus would really be on the water purification part, right? Because whether it is solar-powered or say it is powered by any other energy source, as far as the customer is concerned, they wouldn't care. They would want
They were.
something which it's something which kind of provides them reliably clean drinking water in a reliable way. That's something which they would perhaps just be kind of looking at, and the technology to power it is something which needs to again kind of solve like a pain point. And as you mentioned, I think in India whilst we do claim that we have 100% or very close to 100% electrification, but in rural areas the electrification the electricity is still very intermittent. Right? There are lots of say power cuts and etc. So to that extent,
Right.
a solar powered tool such as this would definitely kind of have greater salience from a reliability kind of a point of view. So I think just the utility of the product is something
Mm-hmm.
which should really be like top notch. It should really kind of serve the need that it is supposed to. Having said that, from some of our kind of experience, we've also seen something like as sensitive as water, right? And this is, I mean, there are certain realities that we have to kind of face with it. For example, it is not a hidden fact that so for things such as water sources, etc., there are elements with respect to caste, etc., which needs to be kind of encountered, which needs to be kind of considered as far as how consumers are going to uptake it. So you will find a lot of
Right.
potential customers saying that we would not want to share our water source, etc., with certain other caste community members, etc. So these are realities that we might want to be appreciative of as we think about the business plan of for our product. I think I'll think of say our customers maybe in 2-3 types, right? I mean, for a product such as this, I'm assuming which this is going to perhaps have a fairly high capex, and hence this might not be a consumer product. This is not something which I, as a rural household, is going to purchase maybe for myself,
Right.
and hence something which is likely to be procured, say by say village institutions, say the panchayats, or by say SHGs, or say by the village water sanitation committees, or say by CSRs, or say philanthropists kind of undertaking projects as well. So these will potentially be the buyers of a product. This is the way I'm perhaps thinking of it, and hence when we're trying to sell stuff, I mean, we need to perhaps attract our divert our marketing energies towards these kind of potential sources. But if it were to have a B2C kind of an element, then what you referred to, Priya, in terms of like being able to ensure easy, smooth access say, to finance, etc., will kind of become important. That's one part of the whole story in terms of how do we think about our customers.
Right.
I think from a risks and challenges point of view, clearly, I mean, there's a lot of literature out there with respect to human-centered design, because for things to operate in resource-constrained locations, it really needs to kind of account for the geographic kind of considerations of where it will be utilized. So, a product such as this might have, say, high operations maintenance cost. You will not be able to send a technician every single day to kind of fix. Hence, how do you perhaps think of ways in which, as you install things, the ownership of its from a maintenance governance is kind of taken up by community members, is something which needs to perhaps be thought through. Maybe not for me as a business, but this is part of the way in which this whole solution is going to interact with my consumers, right? Otherwise, if it does not have, say, local support, etc., then I, as a business, will perhaps face a very high say service request, which will be a drain on my costs, etc. Those are certain considerations that we might want to think through. From a design point of view, it should be easy to use, simple to use, should have be reliable, and should perhaps ensure that we train local community members to ensure the basic maintenance kind of taken care of. For more advanced, I think, service requests, we'll have to kind of put feet on the ground, kind of a model. And just from a marketing, I think standpoint, I think it's really about how do we perhaps make ourselves, I think, visible to these 3-4 customer types that I referred to, right? And the government's push for, say, the Jal Jeevan Mission, and say Roma, I think the whole Har Ghar Nal Se Jal kind of Yojana. As a business, we definitely want to be kind of impaneled with say the government for any potential requirements that the government might have for these kind of requests in communities, and really to be kind of have, say, a strong semblance, or at least a salience of brand with say key consumer segments, and say key stakeholders such as with non-profits who engage closely with communities, with corporates, who might kind of be interested in these kind of solutions, and say with village institutions, etc., so that whenever a requirement such as this kind of comes up, we are there to kind of help. And we, of course, will have to perhaps think of, say, I mean, our on the ground sales kind of a model, right? I mean, we all have Eureka Forbes in our houses, right? I mean, right from early 2000s, we've seen it, and we perhaps would all remember, at least I clearly remember, the day the salesperson had come and kind of installed it, and it showed how so fascinating, right? So how do we perhaps have that in-person connect for making some of these sales happen as well? I think that's also one of the ways in which I give some broad thinking as far as my broad business plan. As I said, this is very, very high level. This is at a 30,000 level, but these are some
Yeah, and I think your first half of the answer like made me think that it's so different when you just change who it's gonna be sold to, because if it was like a regular water purifier to be sold in a regular city, you wouldn't even like consider factors like the one you mentioned, that there could be things as subtle as the shareability aspect of it. We want it to be separate from the other community, and things like that. So I mean, this definitely feels like a whole lot different from the actual entrepreneurship or business plan making, that people kind of have in mind for the regular commercial products that they use. And I think this is very similar to what I was doing in my master's, because I think that time we were part of a fellowship program which was called Tata Center for Design and Technology. So the whole point of doing that was that okay, you do your master's thesis, you do a technical project, but now we have introduced one more angle to it. Your master's thesis outcomes should somehow benefit the resource constrained communities. So say I was working on developing a process which could make mushroom farming efficient for farmers, for paddy farmers in Maharashtra. Some of my, colleagues and friends were working on something other where, some labor intensive industry, something of that part was getting, more efficient or, better or things like that. So, I mean, we had a very small stint with that aspect of entrepreneurship, but your answer definitely acknowledges that it's a whole lot different thought process when you have to develop a product or a business plan for those communities. So yeah, I mean, very insightful in that way. Okay, I think we have reached the end of our podcast, Classroom to Boardroom. Thank you so much, Khanjan and Akshay, for taking out time for giving so insightful answers. And I would say that I could find like a lot of people in my network, but like I said at the very beginning, that very few people, at least I know, and I till now I considered that I had a good social network. So very few people I know are in the development sector. So that's why I asked you that question, that like when you guys started working in that, was it popular enough, or was it like people were aware enough that okay, maybe this could also be a career path? So after this conversation, I do feel that apart from the skills or things that you learn in school, the diversity of the career paths is also something which is the responsibility of the school or the parents to kind of expose the student to. Because many people, like I know now, feel that maybe if we knew about, okay, these are also the career paths, I would have kind of taken my educational journey, my college education, and think my first job in that direction. So this would be a very interesting and a very different episode for our podcast too. So thanks a lot for taking out time and for your insightful answers.